to Danielle Stearman. I'm very excited to have you here with me this morning. You're coming in from beautiful chilly Port Fairy down in Victoria. So, and I'm up here in Bangalore on the New South Wales North Coast. So we're in different parts of the country, and it's a treat to have you here with me. So thanks for joining me, Danielle.
Thank you. Fabulous to spend my Friday morning with you, Kylie.
Hey! Hey! So this is bite-sized conversations where we chat about business things for 30-ish minutes. And this morning I'm very excited to be talking to you about connections and collaborations and all of that. So that's one of my favorite topics. And you know that I run a women's networking group, Positive Passionate Business Women, and one of our focuses lately has all been about how you can collaborate with each other. So rather than people looking at each other as competition, it's like, how can we do some amazing collaborations? So before we get into that, and before I ask you some questions about that, I wanted to share about you and I and our not first meeting, but how we met. So Danielle and I both had businesses in the children's space, and we met doing expos around the country, and loads and loads of fun. We just had a ball with it, and we'd go out at night drinking and partying on. And I just said to Jenni, who is usually my collab partner on our Friday morning webinars, and she couldn't make it today, which was a wonderful opportunity to be able to ask you on. And she said, oh, I've got FOMO. I really want to be there with you both. And I said, oh, well, I can just tell you one thing, and that's I won't be singing. Because we went to karaoke with Ange Henderson and your beautiful partner, Scott. And I got up on stage to karaoke with you because I didn't know any better at that point. And there I was ready to belt it out. And then this extraordinary songstress just out she came with it. No idea that you had been on Pop Stars and were actually not just a shower singer. And so is that correct that you came second and your partner that you met because of Pop Stars won it?
Yes, that's true. But here's something interesting about karaoke and I. So yes, in 2001, Scott and I met auditioning for Australia's third season of Pop Stars. He was the eventual winner and I was the runner-up, but I always tell people I got the guy, so I feel like I won too. But the funny thing about karaoke is I try and keep it really down low that I can sing, because I like to just do all the people you shouldn't touch at karaoke, like Whitney Houston, and you want to sing, I want to dance with somebody, and then as soon as someone goes, she was on Pop Stars, I'm like, oh God, now I've got to be like, I'm gonna like shut it down. No more Lady Marmalade. But yeah, I have the fondest memories of those PBC Expo days with yourself, Ange Henderson, Greg from My Light, Michael from Sunbury Nursery, and it touches so well on the power of good connection that lasts years through multiple businesses, change of direction. Everybody's moved out of the baby space now, including myself last year. I think I was the last to go.
I think there's only Michael left.
Yeah. Well, everybody I met through the circuit has sold their businesses on, gotten into something else, wound things down. But the connections are still there. That's why it's so important to have a really good relationship where it's not just based on the business transaction or the facade, to go a little bit deeper. So yeah,
that is so right. And I think the magical thing about us at that stage was we didn't look at each other as competition. And let's face it, those people coming through those expo doors in droves, I don't know how many thousands, but a lot of people in those ginormous exhibition centers, that we could have looked at each other across the stands and gone, well, if they're spending money with you, that's less money that they're spending with me. So that's a little bit freaky. So no, I want to attract them to me and don't go and look at their stand. But that did not happen. We were all about, hey, and they'd be with us and we'd be like, oh, so if you're needing a teething necklace, jump over there and see them over there at Nibbly Bits, because that's got some amazing stuff. And so there was so much sharing and caring and all of that going on. And then of course we took it way bigger than that. So we would do those competitions together, giveaways together, do a lot of things on social media as collaborations together, grow our email databases, grow our social media platforms together, because we would do these great things. And
we also, Kylie, ended up from memory, stocking one another's products, because I
Yes.
remember ordering my water beads from Rainbows and Clover and yourself, and I think you were selling my rainbow abacus necklace.
Yes.
And Michael Brady ended up becoming my distributor for Australia. Greg was doing so there was this real, exactly like you said, you can look at it like competition and being competitive in this space. There's so much opportunity to go, hey, I really like what you're doing, and rather than rip you off and try and go somewhere and do it myself, there's an opportunity to support another business owner and just deepen that rapport. So I remember there was a lot of that, like, yeah, support, promotion, collaboration. It all came out of just, conversation. I remember you turning up at my stand the first time I met you with bright blue hair. I think the next time I saw you, it was bright pink. And then one time it was rainbow. And I just used to think, my God, I love this chick. She's just so herself. And I think when you find people in business like that, they're the good eggs. They're the ones that are, wholeheartedly in it, I think, for the right reason. And yeah, hugely, hugely powerful. Because I mean, that was over 10 years ago now.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah, and here we are this morning having a bite-sized conversation.
I know, that's wonderful. And so I want to talk about what you're doing now, because I think a lot of people are intrigued with awards. They're intrigued with, and I know you're not just doing awards, so we want to hear about all of it. But for those of you that don't know, Danielle started up the Raw Success Awards, and honoring people or acknowledging people for amazing things that they do in business. So I want to hear a lot about that. And I want to hear, and I'm so flattered and grateful you've asked me to be a judge this year. That's very exciting. I was also a judge last year, but it's changing this year. So I want to hear all about that. But why don't you tell me about your journey from what happened with you doing this amazing children's business and distributors and products all over the world to what you're doing now? Share a bit about that journey.
Yeah, sure. So I started my first business, Nibbly Bits, which we talked about, which was a teething jewelry and teething toy business. When I started it, it didn't exist on the market. It was a lot about building education around the benefits of the products, and it wasn't something people knew about. So I had my work cut out for me in terms of growing it, but the business did grow and it was internationally distributed. I think we ended up with about 58 countries, small distributors, some bigger, that were distributing the product. So I did that for 10 years, but I sold the business last year. Talking about when you're talking about competition, I ended up with a competitor in the Australian market in exactly the same industry. And instead of turning it into a cat fight in terms of sales, I actually ended up going into business with the business owner, and we split a second business off where we created a DIY space so people could buy loose beads, loose product, and create their own businesses and have really safe product to work with. So that came out of direct competition. She was literally my biggest competition in the market. So I think there's always opportunity in that space to look at your business and look at where you can go. And sometimes partnering up with a competitor is a really smart move. And it definitely was for me partnering with Claire. It was great. Spin-off from that, I ended up creating a teething toy called the Mibbler. I housed it under the Nibbly Bits brand, but I soon realized that the brand itself had to have its own kind of branding and its own legs. It was this cool little toy. It hadn't been sort of done before. It was to take on Sophie the giraffe. So I split the business and sold into a partnership. So I've got Lisa Galea, who's my partner for the Mibblers, and I still have that business. But when I sold my two businesses, Nibbly Bits and Silly Mama last year, I had already started building up Raw Success. So throughout my, business journey and my experience in the industry, I've been part of lots of awards, lots of networks, lots of, events across Australia. And I really found that, they were great, but I always just wanted a little bit more, and I think we sort of created our own network, Kylie. When I would go to the PBC Expo or the Baby Toddler Expo, we had a crew. So at the end of the show days, we'd all bundle up, we'd be out for dinner, we'd be out for karaoke, we'd be like, who wants to go play mini golf? So we created this network, and we would pull in other people that were new. Hey, you don't know anyone? Come hang out with us. We're like the cool kids, of the crew. So, but I realized that by observation alone, going to a lot of these events where people were new, starting up in business or had been in business and this was their first experience at events or awards, there was always this disappointment with not walking away with a trophy, or a loneliness or a disconnect with seemingly some other people in the group. So I wanted to create something that eliminated the self-doubt and the competition and the stale metrics. I didn't want businesses to be judged on financials or, you know, how many followers people have, because I know some wildly successful humans doing amazing businesses, and they might not be the most financially successful, but they're amazing and they're so passionate, just like your group, you know, passionate people doing amazing things. And so I wanted to be able to shine a light on those people. So the awards are in their third year this year, but we are taking it up a notch this year. COVID handed me a bit of a wild card last year, and I managed to get 2 little events to celebrate the awards up very last minute. But this year I've hired half an island, you know, go big or go home, on the sunny coast. I've asked Kylie to come back this year and be a part of our presentation crew, but I've partnered up with James Yates from Reignite, who's just a cool cat on the sunny coast and totally gets it. And we are creating a business festival this year. So this is outside under a marquee on an island where you'll be able to network with cool cats in business that are just want to share lots of their stories and their adversities and their weaknesses and their failures and successes. But we're hoping that everybody that comes through this year understands that you're not in the wrong room. So it's not about, you know, you coming in thinking, oh God, she's a multi-million-dollar business, and it won't matter. Our judges last year were people that sat in that space that they judged hugely successfully. We had Tony Modolo from Warner Music. He's the head of radio at Warner Music here in Australia. Had Tara Jolie, who is a huge influencer and part of the Little Women of LA. We had Jamie Grayson, who I think is the biggest baby influencer in the US, judging our baby space categories, the guys from Clidonics in product development. And this year we're going bigger again. So I'm not telling everybody who we've got yet, that's secret, but I can tell you Kylie's back. And yeah, and basically I've created a membership platform, and I do some mentoring one-on-one, but my big focus this year is about bringing this festival to life and having people really be able to turn up and be proud of their own success. And there'll be glow sticks, and there'll be, well, I'm not going to tell you, but there'll be live music, and there'll be a great opportunity to come shake off a little bit of your funk if you've been feeling a little bit lethargic, connect with the right people, and just walk away with, you know, you're going to have to bring another cup to fill. You're going to be so full of inspo that you'll need not just your cup, but you'll have to bring a spare. So yeah, I'm excited.
I love that you said it's a business festival on half an island. I just think that's so amazing, and what a wonderful thing you're doing to bring people together in that way. It's so awesome. But what I'd like to know is, what are the benefits of actually putting yourself forward, or do you put yourself forward for an award category, or does someone else nominate you? How does all that part of it work for the business owners?
Look, I think realistically, even when somebody, you know, runs an award platform and says nominate yourself. Here's the reality is, don't pretend that someone's nominated you. I've won over 30 awards in my 10 years of business, and I can tell you I've nominated myself 99.9% of times. It's only been if I didn't know about the award that someone put my hand up and said, hey, you should enter, or I got an email. But throw your hat in the ring. I can tell you the one thing our awards do differently is our judges give feedback to the top 3, which is invaluable, because to get somebody that actually looks at your application, reads through your story, and can see your potential, to give feedback on that from somebody who's carved that pathway for themselves is totally invaluable. And this year we're taking it up a little bit further with the judges and the finalists. I won't say too much about it, but it will be really, really worthwhile. And look, the thing is, I think people look at entering awards, and there's fees associated with entering sometimes, and there's costs with coming to events, and it is an investment, but you have to look at whether that award platform is a good investment. Last year with our awards, we charged $99 per entry. But part of that was you got to be part of a private Facebook group. We ran breakout sessions with Kylie and all of our judges. You got so much insight and valuable tips and tricks and resources thrown into this group that you could access so much good stuff. And then obviously if you were able to come to the events, we ran one down here in Port Fairy, we ran one in the sunny coast. You know, you got to be able to network and play, you know, which was great. But I think, yeah, people always say, you know, people sit back and they go, oh, no one's going to nominate me, and maybe I'll make it up, I'll just say, oh, blah blah nominated me for this. Just do it yourself. There's no shame in it. Anytime I've had to be judged for awards, I'm like, hey, yeah, hell yeah, I nominated myself. I backed myself. I believe in my business and my my mojo. I think I've got the goods. So I think get out of your own way. Most of the time it's your self-doubt and that critical little voice that goes, you're not ready, you're not making enough money, you're not big enough, you don't have as many followers. Some of our winners last year won over businesses that from aesthetic, outside perspective would cook them in other awards, but it didn't come down to that. It comes down to why you do what you do, the love that you've got for your business and what your measure of success is. So they're different. It's not, we don't look at your financials and go, oh, you didn't make $10 million, so sorry, we're giving it to that person. We look at the awards from the back end and go, this is someone that gets up, loves what they do, is really working for their own kind of, picture of success. And that's the difference with Raw. It's very, it's bucking the trend, I think, from typical stagnant, stale ways of doing events and awards. So, yeah.
Great. And is it open to men and women? Because I know there's a lot of awards out there for women.
Yes. So ours is open to everybody. You can be, a young entrepreneur doing startup. You can be a male, a female, a husband and wife team, a couple, any, setup that you've got. You can be a group, collective as in investment in business, any size business. And we also cater to product-based businesses, service-based businesses, and then the outside the box businesses. So the businesses that don't fall in. But to give you an example, I've just signed off on the categories this year. So we have categories like Wildcat of the Year, which is a business owner that's been doing their business for less than 2 years. But that category last year was so much fun. It was a new one that I threw in. I have a 3-year-old now, but she was 2 last year and she's a wildcat, my Bonnie. So I was like, I'm going to put Wildcat in there for anybody that started their business 2 years or less. And it was so much fun. I think Sandy Lowes from Women Beyond 40 ended up taking out that category, and it was fabulous. It was just, so there's a couple of different, retail rock star of the year for those bricks and mortar businesses. So it's a bit different, and I've tried to create even this year, titles that you want to promote that you'd be really proud of. And there are a lot of award platforms just for women, but I'm a big believer in you can learn business tips and advice from all walks. And some of the best advice I've learned have been from men and women and young people and really old people, and they're just golden nuggets. So we're a very open and inclusive platform. And yeah, the festival this year, I think, will be an event to remember. Kylie, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh, well, I'm so excited about it too. I can see that Jackie Moore is in the room today as an attendee, and I'm not going to say about what her business is. I'll leave that for us as a surprise for you. But I'm really hoping, as soon as you started talking about the Wildcats, and I thought, oh, I hope she goes for that one. I hope she enters there. That will be amazing. And it's just those businesses, aren't it, that make you go, wow, you're really doing something different and special, and the world needs to know about it. So
yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like it's the people doing it and that are, just doing it their way. I think there's so, everybody can have anybody can have an e-commerce business that's outsourced with drop shipping and whatnot, but it's the ones that are doing it, with heart-centered focus, or because they want to, build a legacy for their family, or just because they want to do it their way and they have their own vision. I think that's key in our network particularly. We're really encouraging of you doing your business your way and not being sort of trapped into the mindset that you have to watch your competitors or watch how other people have done it. Really staying focused on doing it your way. And I think as a great example, Kylie, you building your platforms, coming off the back of selling rainbows and clover, and then building up these amazing groups of supporting women in business, and really doing it your way with your flair and fun and fearlessness, and that's it, isn't it? Like you don't want to look at other people and think, oh, I'm just going to spit out e-courses and do it this way, really doing it your own way. And I think when you meet the people that are already part of Raw's network, that have been part of the awards and things and the retreats we do previously, you soon realize you're in the right room, because it's just, they're all characters, is how I, quiet wallflowers that come in, and then they're like, oh, these are my people. Really loud people like me that come in and like, and then people are walking away from that. And the opportunities then that come outside of that are that people really connect and collaborate outside of being part of this platform. And some of the stuff that came out last year was phenomenal. It was just, I mean, I've loved watching the last, sort of 6 to 8 months, where we finished up our awards, and now we've got someone like Kat Rattray, who's an artist at Cat and Fox, who's collaborating with our runner-up for that category for the best artist, musician, creative, which was the Micmacs, Joel and Elle McInnes. They have a kids group. She won Artist of the Year. They were runner-up. Now they're working together, and it's just awesome. I just love that they essentially were up for the same award. It could have been really like, wow, and it wasn't. They hung out and danced all night at the event, had cocktails and lots of food, and then have gone back now and are working together, building YouTube channels and doing artistry for things, and it's just been awesome. So yeah, I would highly recommend your network look at our awards this year, and I'm happy to answer any questions that they might have even after this. But you'll be one of our judges, Kylie. So if Kylie is any indication of the caliber and the kind of cool cat vibe we're going for, then I highly recommend you check it out. So we're opening actually for our event. We will have accommodation on site, so you can come and stay on our island with us, but it is limited. We're only limited to the amount of people we can have, but that will open in the next week or two. So you can follow along on social media. I'll make sure Kylie's got the details as well, but you could come and hang out with us. We can have a bonfire on the beach the night before, and a cocktail party by the pool. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Super fun. So can you tell me, what would you say if you were going to list, say, 3 top ways that people could collaborate in business? So I'll give you an example. So Jenni and I, we met, or maybe 18 months ago, or longer than that, I think now, at a workshop that we were doing, and instantly had this connection, instantly knew, and we do similar businesses, but not really. So, we complement each other really, really well. And we knew we wanted to do something together. We just knew it. And so we decided to do this webinar. And so every week we talk about different topics, and from time to time, either her or I can't make it. And so then we bring on a guest to be with us. And it's such a wonderful thing that we get to do every single week. So for me, that's a great form of a collaboration. But what would you put out there if you were going to list 3 suggestions to people of different ways that they could collaborate with people rather than just be thinking about competing?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, a great example for how you guys connected is just conversation, isn't it? It's talking to people. So sometimes that's hard, especially the last sort of 12 to 18 months where we haven't been able to go to events or networking things or expos, where you have an opportunity to talk to people, but online, drop into somebody's inbox and say, hey, I really love what you're doing. Do you want to have a coffee over a Zoom? Or, I mean, we're lucky in the sense that now we don't have to travel places. You don't have to spend half an hour in your car or an hour driving somewhere. I can have 5 conversations in that time, So I think looking at the opportunity to collaborate online is making it really easy with platforms like Zoom and things like that. So that would be one thing, is just reach out to people who inspire you, or people that might be in a similar niche that you really admire, and have a conversation. Because even in that conversation, you might think, look, their Instagram feed's great, or, I love that, I love that office setup or that display setup. I'd love to know where they get their things from. Have conversations. That's one easy way to connect and collaborate. Another really good one for me that I, am a big advocate for is, whenever you're looking at your business, it's really easy. I talked about it before, to have that imposter syndrome where you feel like you're kind of putting yourself out there and people assume you're a huge company or whatnot, or you just doubt yourself, that self-doubt. I think look at who you can work with that's a little bit higher in level than you, or somebody that's carved out the pathway that you're kind of just about to move on, and get some mentoring or coaching. So that's a really good way to open up your network. I know with, when I work with a client in that space, I know Kylie, you're the same, you get access to all of their contacts. So when I have a client come to me and say, look, I'm having issues with this, this, and this, I can say, listen, I've got the best lawyer in Australia that would take care of that like that. And I've dealt with, you know, one of my clients was ripped off by Target, and my lawyer got that sorted in a week. So that was a really stressful situation for her, and she thought her business was going to go under. And it was just doing a mentoring session with me, getting that one contact, and then, you know, happy days, she's open. And that opens your network, because from that, sorry, I've got my little girl that's going to the potty in the background, if you can hear that. But from that opens your network in a professional sense, because you get people then that are working with people of a higher caliber that you can learn from and that you can be connected with. And the third one is get out and go to events, you know, as many as you can, and invest in your business and your professional development. So I have been to lots and lots of events and lots of, you know, conferences, lots of awards, lots of expos, like we were talking about, and they're expensive. You know, Kylie, correct me, but it's about $5,000 to do an expo, and, you know, it's travel and flights and accommodation and whatnot. You don't have to go spend $5,000 doing an expo yourself, but go, if you're in the baby children's space, go and visit one of the expos. It'll cost you $20 to go, and your parking and lunch, but go and meet some of the owners. You know, if you go in that afternoon on the last day, they're all kind of, you know, it slows down. You get an opportunity to talk to people. Hey, I've got a new product I'm launching. And especially if you're in that relaunch or about to launch, or you want to scale up, or you want to get into wholesale, you know, those kind of opportunities to get in the space with the people that are already doing it, you know, it's great. And, you know, like we said, we didn't first meet, Kylie and I didn't first meet and then go, hey, we're going, you know, we're going to be the best friends forever. And it's the conversation. It's investing your time in continuing that conversation and keeping that communication going. And, you know, we would say to, you know, each other, where are you going to be on the floor plan for that expo? You know, do you want to go next to each other so we can hang out and watch each other's stand if someone needs to go to the toilet or grab lunch? Or if you go grab a coffee, I'll watch our stand. It's all of that stuff that you don't really think about, but it's so important as a business owner, because now I don't have to have two people on my stand all day working with me. I've got Kylie right next door who's happy to watch my stand and knows my thing. So I hope that helps. But really for me, it's just putting yourself out there, connecting with people. And I'm a big believer of, you know, using a mentor or a coach or getting some support for the next run of a phase of your business. So if you're looking at, you know, wholesale or internationally scaling, how do you work with a distributor? How do you work out your margins and your costings? Where do you even start? Find someone who's done it before. So, because you're going to bypass so much time, so many financial, you know, attempts to get there, and you get the right person and the right mentor, and they go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, you're there, or they have a contact that can hook you up. So, and just in that too, like I said, saving your time and your energy and your money, making those mistakes and learning from someone else quickly means that the energy and time and money can be put back into other things that actually light you up as a business owner and really progress you forward. Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think not only do you need a coach or a mentor in those early days or those times when you're ready for the next growth patch, but also every coach and mentor needs a coach. So I have 2 coaches myself in different areas that I'm, you know, really working on growing in. And also I still have a mentor, and I also am a mentor. So I think that that's important, is that I would be concerned if you were wanting to work with someone that wasn't actively then growing themselves as well, because there's always more to learn, and having that inquiring mind and that desire to explore more is so important, I think. And I know that's what you and I both have always had in common, is learning and soaking up so much to
it's so overwhelming having a business. You know, like we talk about, I had this funny little thing I did in my group, and I said, you know, if you had to physically had to put hats on that said, you know, business owner, you know, product developer, you know, social media manager, you know, customer service, emails, if you had to stack all the hats literally that you actually wear in a day, you would look ridiculous. But the thing is that as you grow your business and you start to understand, and you can put processes in, and you can use different programs, and you can learn, like you said, Kylie, I'm not an expert in every area of my business, but every time I get to take a hat off and throw it, because it's less, you know, it's less bogging me down. It's liberating, but it takes a lot longer to remove those hats when you're trying to do it on your own and you're trying to learn. And, you know, cash flow is king. I think you've got to really look at how you can kind of accelerate your ability to soak in, because we're only limited in how much we can take in every day. And I know that, you know, when people start throwing all these things that you're supposed to do when you're running these things at me, I go, oh, okay, well, let's just start here and let's work through here. And that's even this year for me. Like, I've run 2 years of this business now. I've run 6 events on my own, but this year, doing this festival and having the vision that I had, I knew I needed a partner. I knew I needed to bring someone in that just knew the event, knew the space, could understand my vision and help me really map it out on a bigger level, which is why I partnered with James. And, you know, I was talking to somebody and they're like, well, you're going to give 50% of what you make away. And I'm like, of course. it's an investment. And, you know, I'm only going to make that money if I have the right people on my team. And by covering people for accommodation and having people come up and being able to give back, that's the only way that your business grows. And I'm not so arrogant that I go, oh, I can do it on my own. And, you know, I can run an event with 100 people and now I'm going to do it with 200 and it's going to be really easy. James has run particularly at this island. He's got 12 events there this year. So he knows the team, he knows the place, he knows the suppliers. There's so much value in that. And I'm just going to speed run over trying to reach out to all the suppliers and, you know, and trying to negotiate costs and all the rest of it. He's already doing that because he's got the relationships. And from what I then am able to do is focus on the marketing, the categories, you know, bringing in the right judges, bringing in the right people to be there. And that's my superpower. So I think even in your business, there'll be an opportunity right now to extend a little bit or connect with somebody. There'll be a gap somewhere in your business right now. You're not happy. Like, it could be that your social media is a little bit bleh. Book a session with Kylie, you know, get it back where you understand it and you get a flow. You know, it could be that your cash flow is destroyed, and, you know, cash flow is a big thing. It could be lack of sales. It could be overspending. Book in with a financial advisor, get a great accountant to get really honest and really raw in your financials and get it sorted. Don't leave it. So as soon as you start dealing with the little things that niggle at you and you use the right people, you know, it's a different business game. So yeah.
Totally. And that again comes back to who can you collaborate with? And so I know you and I both have a very similar ethos where we love to refer people. And so I probably do it every week. I'd be sending an e-intro to someone to connect with and that kind of thing. And I just think that give and grow mentality. So you're putting it out there and you in turn then will have opportunities to grow from what you're giving is such a wonderful thing. Thank you so much for sharing this morning and chatting with me and sharing all your insights and your exciting growth for yourself and the way that you recommend collaborating. So tell us, how can people connect with you, Danielle?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm across a few different platforms. You can find me on LinkedIn just under my name, Danielle Stearman, which, if you forget, is in the picture that Kylie put up with that was the little gift. I'm on social media. So obviously facebook.com/raw success. It's ROAR, like raw success. I'm on Instagram as well. And our website's just www.rawsuccess.com. Feel free. I'm like you, Kylie, I love to connect people. So if you've listened to this today and you think, oh, I'd really like to know somebody that can help me with wholesale, scaling, lawyer, accountant, distributions, you know, social media, I'm flicking you to Kylie, but any of those areas, I'm more than happy. You can flick me a DM and I'm happy to, you know, connect you up or give you a, you know, a little tip or trick here and there as well. And we're running a few free sessions I've got a paid membership club, but this month I've got a few free sessions for business owners. So we're running a session with a personal stylist to talk about style and branding, how to sort of take yourself and, you know, really create a style that suits you and your branding. We've got sessions with Amy McCann, who's a PR and marketing specialist, you know, how to get more visible in your business and how to get some free PR and marketing. There are some free sessions. So you can, on the Raw Success Facebook page, click the events and have a look through. I'm adding some more in today as well. I'll have to get you in for one, Kylie.
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be fun. Well, thank you so much. It was just such a treat to catch up with you again. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the island.
Me too.
I'm staying on the island. I've got to get on that super fast. I'll be keeping an eye out for when that's happening. Yoo-hoo! I can't wait. So
exciting.
we'll obviously this has gone out live everywhere. We will share all the details of how people can connect with you in that caption. And yet again, thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Friday morning. And I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend.
Happy Friday, everybody. Go out there and stay raw.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great to see you. Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.